All right, hello there. Welcome to the Persuasive Speech Week. I've got my audience here behind me. All right, I'm going to give you the speech. So, picture a dog living in an animal shelter that has to sleep on a cold cement ground every night. After the dog has lived in the shelter for a while, it begins to get full with more and more dogs. And in order to make room for these new dogs, some dogs are moved to different shelters. And so think about what that dog goes through when it's being picked up and moved. Be kind of scary. And they don't really know what's going on. So imagine how different this dog's life would be if you decided to walk up and into the shelter and take this dog home with you. I would like to talk to you about today about how important animal adoption is within our area, how easy the process of adoption is for you, and the benefits of animal adoption. I'm going to be speaking more particularly about dog adoption, so just to make that clear. I'm going to continue my discussion with you about how important dog adoption is within our area. According to the Spokane County Regional Animal Protection Services, or SCRAPS, they had a total of 1,140 dogs brought into their shelter as of 2013. Out of that number, only 26% of them were adopted out to families. If you haven't done the math already, 26% of 1,140 is 285 dogs. Now, that's not a very big number if you ask me. A total of 927 strays have been brought into the shelter as of April 2013 as well. So it's important for good people who have the time and energy it takes to take care of a dog to walk into the shelter and adopt them so that they don't get put back out into the streets and just end up in the shelter again later on. Now you can see there is a need for good people like you to walk into the shelter and adopt a dog. You may be wondering, what does it take to adopt a dog? Well, let me explain the process, and it's not as difficult as you might think. According to the SCRAPS website, you will need to provide a photo identification with current address. You will also need to be prepared to pay the adoption fee at the time you adopt the dog. And, of course, you must be 18 or over to adopt from SCRAPS. So as you can see, there's no background check or home inspection that needs to be done, like with some other shelters. And if you have children or other dogs within your household, it would be a good idea to bring them with you with the adoption, so that way you can make sure that the dog you want to bring home is a good fit for you and your family. Was I right when I told you that the adoption process is not very difficult? Well, now let's look at what would happen in your life if you decided not to adopt a dog, and if you did. Dogs are needed to be walked a few times a week, and that's just a fact of life. And if you live alone, you are going to be the one that's going to need to take your dogs for a walk. Now, right now, you may be groaning and munching and thinking, why do I have to do this? That seems like a lot of work. But if you really sit back and think about it, adopting or walking a dog is going to be beneficial for your health. According to ABC News, hypertensive patients or high blood pressure patients who went for fitness walks at a brisk pace lowered their blood pressure number by almost 8 millimeters of mercury. That's pretty good. And while you're taking your dog for a walk, you may end up at the dog park where other dogs and dog owners are playing. And if you decide not to adopt a dog, you are not going to need to be walking to a dog park. So your chances of meeting new people and having a better social life are going to diminish. So as you can see, adopting a dog will have a major impact on your life in so many different ways. And to think that all you have to do is walk into the shelter and pick up your new best friend. I have talked with you about how important animal or dog adoption is, how easy the process is for you, and the benefits of animal adoption. You become the proud owner of a new dog by simply walking into a shelter, pick out which dog you would like, and you just need to show them your current driver's license and picture ID. And once you've done that, you are able to take your friend home with you. Think back for a moment to the beginning of my speech when I mentioned to you about the dog that needed to be moved. Picture how scared the dog would be if you were picked up and moved to another shelter. They wouldn't have a clue what was going on in their mind, and again, they would be very scared. And I know if that were to happen to me as a human being, I would be very scared. So I can only imagine how scared it would be for a dog. So that's why it's important for these sweet, innocent dogs to get adopted to good people. And it's even more important for these good people to walk into the shelter to adopt these dogs. So I know all of you listening to this speech right now are good people. So let's stand up and walk our way into the shelter today. I've even printed out flyers with the address of the shelter as well as the phone number to make the decision to adopt even easier. And here's this information right now. You can see the address and the phone number there. So go ahead and pick up a phone or write down the address right now, and don't be afraid to adopt a dog. We'll all do it together. Thank you.